Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Continuing on with the Clone Wars line today, we're going to take a look at a clone commander, and while this figure could have been awesome, it does fall in some ways. It's not the best figure that Hasbro have released, and I'm just not as impressed with it as I probably should have been. But the figure itself is this one, and it is of course Clone Commander Wolffe, definitely one of the most popular clone commanders from the Clone Wars series. So a cool design by all means. Obviously this is Clone Commander Wolffe in his Phase 2 armour, and while the design is awesome, the execution of this figure is very, very poor, and in some ways it's my least favourite of the Clone Wars figures that I've got to review for you. So yeah, not impressed with this one at all, but we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on in the review. First up though, as always, we're going to take a look at the packaging that he comes in, and again, nothing new here, just the 2012 look to the packaging, with Darth Maul's head at the top, Star Wars logo and an image of Commander Wolffe at the side. As you can see, the CGI render of the character looks awesome, but the figure just isn't as great. On the back of the packaging we have an image of the figure, as well as an image of Clone Commander Wolffe from the Clone Wars series. I have a character description there as well, and a few other figures available in the line. As I said, reviewed Ayla Secura quite a while back, so give her a search on my channel if you want to check that figure out. Obi-Wan we've just reviewed, Ahsoka is coming up next, and the Super Battle Droid is the only figure from this new wave that I've yet to pick up, so as soon as I do, I'll be sure to review it. So that's the packaging, and of course if you're familiar with the Clone Wars line, then you'll know that these figures do indeed come with battle game cards and display stands. So there's the card with the image of Wolffe at the top. Got the display stand as well, and then on the back of the card I've got a pretty cool image of Clone Commander Wolffe. So that is the packaging and its contents. Now let's take a look at the figure. First up, he does come with a additional accessory, which is this, and it is of course the oversized rocket launcher that we've seen with multiple clone troopers in the past. Nothing special, you just press the button on the top and the missile fires out. It's as simple as that. And again, these rocket launchers are a little bit oversized and they tend to weigh the figure down, particularly this one, and I'll explain why in just a bit. So the figure itself, here it is. As I said, the design of this figure is awesome, but the way that Hasbro have pulled it off is just a little bit lackluster, and I'm not impressed with it. If you remember back to 2010, then you may remember when Clone Commander Stone was first released, and the Clone Trooper Articulation seemed to take a massive step backwards. Well, if you imagine Clone Commander Stone, and then take away a few more points of articulation, and that's basically what we get with this figure. He has no articulation in the knees, the ankles, or the wrists, which is absolutely, pardon my French, piss poor from Hasbro. Not impressed with that at all. I'm not one of these people who sort of refuses to buy a figure based on its articulation, or lack of in this case. So I'm not going to complain about it too much because I still like the figure. But I just don't understand why Hasbro seem to think that, you know, giving us lackluster, mediocre figures is acceptable, because we're paying a premium for these things, so we deserve the best value for money we can get. And that's certainly not what we're getting with these figures as of late, so I hope they book their ideas up soon. In terms of the figure itself though, paint applications are reasonable. One thing I am pleased about is the fact that Hasbro have made an attempt to weather this figure. You'll notice that he has sort of that ink wash look to the armour, which some of the earlier clone troopers from the Clone Wars had, but they seem to stop doing that as a cost-cutting measure back in like 2009. So it's nice to see that come back. I'll give you a zoom in on the helmet sculpt as well, so you can get a better look at that. Again, it's a nice design in terms of the actual character, but the way that Hasbro have pulled this one off is just a bit rubbish. Getting close up to this one, the finish on this just doesn't look right. You know, the paint applications look hand done, and it just doesn't look the best quality. The rangefinder is also very, very thick, and it doesn't move, which is just makes it look ugly really. And yeah, I'm just not impressed with it. It had the potential to be so much better, and Hasbro have just ruined it. Also, the helmet is way oversized, which would be acceptable if the helmet was removable, but it isn't. So yeah, that's a bit of a letdown. In terms of other paint applications though, obviously you've got the Wolfpack design on the helmet. You've also got that sort of abstract pattern on the shoulder there, and on the other side you have the Wolfpack emblem, which is quite cool. There's also this peg hole on the back of the figure, which obviously would accommodate a jetpack, but he doesn't come with one, so that's a bit of a waste, and makes the aesthetic of the figure a bit uglier in my opinion. But that's really the deal breaker in my opinion, is the fact that the articulation isn't so great, and the paint job on this guy is just a bit, I don't know, it just feels like crap quality in my opinion. It just doesn't feel as good as it should. He does come, of course, with a plastic camer, which has 2 holsters attached, which you can slot the DC-17 pistols into. And other than that, that's about it with this figure. There's really nothing much more to say about him. Yeah, just not impressed with this one at all. And out of the entire range of Clone Wars figures released in 2012, aside from the repacks, this is my least favourite. Not impressed with this one at all. In terms of the other articulation that he has a ball jointed neck, ball hinged shoulders and elbows, no wrist articulation as I mentioned previously. He has a swivel waist, swivel hips, and again, no articulation in the knees or ankles, which as I said earlier as well proves a problem when this figure holds the rocket launcher, because you can't pose this figure much. If you put that heavy rocket launcher in his hand, he'll just lean forward and fall over if you've got him on a shelf. So I guess that's where the display stand comes in handy, but I'm just not impressed with this one, and I really hope Hasbro go back and revisit it and give it a bit more articulation and sort out that helmet, because that's just not very good. So let me know whether you agree or disagree. Do you love or hate this figure? As I said, the only fault that I can see in terms of the helmet is just the fact that it's not been painted to the best of its quality, I guess. So yeah, loses a few points there. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments below, or visit us on Facebook. And be sure to let us know what you think. So there we go, that's Clone Commander Wolffe from the Clone Wars line. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'll be back to give you a look at a slightly better figure in my next review. So stay tuned for that, and until next time, keep collecting, and as always, may the Force be with you.